A very warm welcome to you, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Politics Tonight, where we dig and go beyond the headlines for informed analysis of major political stories in Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Political parties trade blame as gunmen attack residents of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of Kogi State, Gabriel Longpet. On the interview segment for today, we focus on NDDC appointments and the inclusion challenge with the national coordinator of the Concerned Ilaje Stakeholders Committee, Akinola Gbonegun, as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with Politics Tonight. Let's begin with some developments in the polity. Normalcy has returned to the nation's capital after a series of gunshots were fired around the International Conference Center earlier today. And our correspondent Moya Thomas captured it all. Report revealed that people were now going about their businesses. Gunmen have attacked the residence of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in charge of Kogi State, Gabriel Longpet. This was made known in a statement issued by the electoral body on Friday. And according to the statement released, the armed men engaged security personnel in a gun battle for more than 30 minutes until reinforcements arrived. While no lives were lost, property were destroyed in the ensuing gun battle. A team of combined security personnel have been deployed to protect the residents. This incident occurred a day after a mob besieged the state INEC office. Meanwhile, political parties are trading blame in this happening.
After we alerted the nation of the plans of Muritala Yakubu Ajaka and his Social Democratic Party talks to attack the office of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Kogi State, they have finally done their worst by attacking the residence of the Kogi State Independent National Electoral Commission Commissioner, engaging security operatives in a fierce gun battle and eventually burning down some vehicles in the residence and in the area. The same arsonists also had an attempt to burn down the Kogi State Government House, foiled by our eagle-eye security operatives.
I'm condemning the attempt to assassinate the REC. I'm condemning the attempt by whosoever that organized protesters and tag SDP in it. We are not involved. We never participated. No justification for us to participate because everything that we are looking for, we have gotten it from INEC, almost 90%, I can say. So why should we go and organize something that would disrupt what we are looking for? It's practically impossible. It's not even logical, for us to do it. It doesn't make sense as people who are looking forward to, getting our stolen mandate back.
Some women have taken a peaceful protest to INEC office in Owerri, Imo State capital, to demand the immediate release of the certified true copies of the results sheets used for the governorship election. The women also asked INEC to allow opposition parties inspect the materials used for the polls. Armed with placards with various inscriptions, they called on the state's resident electoral commissioner to also make available all results on the IREF portal.
We have come here today to please ask Sylvia Agu to release IREF results. We are not comfortable with what is happening in Imo State. Our husbands, our children, everybody out there, they are not happy. The peace to reign for security to be in Imo State. Let her release the result. We cannot wait again.
That she should please, in fairness and goodness and equity, for equity to prevail, she should please release the results of the last November 11 election. This result, for us women, is so important that
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is the national coordinator of the Concerned Ilaje Stakeholders Committee, Akinola Gbonegun, for discussion on NDDC appointments and the inclusion challenge. Let's stay with politics tonight. Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with politics tonight. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by the national coordinator of the Concerned Ilaje Stakeholders Committee, Akinola Gbonegun, for discussion on NDDC appointments and the inclusion challenge. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Akinola.
Thank you, Jumoke.
Right. So a new governing board of the NDDC was inaugurated in November, headed by the chairman, Chiedu Abie from Delta State as chairman, and Samuel Ogbuko from Bayelsa as MDCO. What do you make of this new management?
Yeah, the new management is illegal, it's illegitimate.
Illegal?
Yes, because the reason is that there is a law that should guide the appointments. That law was not followed. So it's still illegal. Now, there is an NDDC Act, Section 12, subsection 1, says there shall be for the commission and a managing director and 2 executive directors who shall be indigenes of oil-producing areas, and it shall be rotated on the basis of oil production quantum. Now, they are talking about rotation. The present MD now is from Bayelsa State. Bayelsa State had previously produced MD, Timi Alaibe, in 2005 to 2009. So why another Bayelsa man? So it's illegal. Victor Antai from Akwa Ibom State have been appointed executive director of projects. Akwa Ibom had that slot 2 times before. Why the 3rd when some other states have not had their shot? Rivers State had their shot at executive director of finance. Why bringing them in again when some other states have not had any shot at that? So the executive director positions, the MD position, are occupied by illegitimate, illegal people. And the high time the government started to look at all these things, the better for everybody. Because there is a law. A law guarantees rotation, not repetition. Now, they added another directorate, Executive Director of Corporate Services. It was given to someone from Akure North. Akure North, the whole of Akure North local government is not oil bearing. They suffer no deprivation, they suffer no pollution on account of oil production. Why do you award them executive director NDDC? So I don't know who, we just want things to be done normally for rule of law to be followed as enshrined in the 8-point agenda of the present administration. We concede that President Tinubu may not know so many of these things, but we want to put it to him. And he has said severally that any mistake genuinely made will be corrected once his attention is brought to it. We are bringing his attention to it. So,
right, but confirmation and appointment was carried out by the National Assembly. Why are you still saying this is illegal?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It was done in error. Look, I've just told you what the law says, Section 12, subsection 1. I've told you, it has not been removed. The National Assembly could do anything in error as well. They should look at it. If we are wrong, they tell us.
All right. So when you started your explanation, I initially thought Ondo State had no representative on that board. But it looks like you have an issue with the person appointed from Akure North. Isn't that the issue?
That's not the only issue.
All right. So what other issues?
The issue is that no Bayelsa man should have been appointed managing director when other states have not had their shot at it.
Okay. All right.
Bayelsa is having second shot at managing director. There are other states that are not. So it's not fair.
So 9 states make up the Niger Delta region.
Correct.
And you're saying some other states have not had a shot at the managing director.
At the managing
Please
director.
be specific. What other states have not had a shot?
Ondo have not had a shot. Edo have not had a shot. Imo has not had a shot. Abia has not had a shot. Cross River has not had a shot at the managing director.
All right. So how, in general now, how representative of the 9 Niger Delta states will you describe the new NDDC board?
To the extent that the people there are illegitimate, it cannot be representative. To the extent that the people there at the executive management positions are not legitimate, so it can't be representative. The law must be followed.
Now that you're saying this, I mean, I remember there were calls for President Bola Tinubu to review the NDDC Act, and specifically that he removes non-Niger Delta oil-producing states of Abia, Imo, and Ondo from the 9 states that make up the NDDC. I mean, Edwin Clark calls this a political aberration.
Yes. Yeah, even the statement itself is a multiple aberration. Why will you remove the goalpost when a goal has been scored? Look at it this way. Baba Edwin Clark was part of the formation of Niger Delta. He's a lawyer. He saw the law. He approved of the law. And now, 23 years after the formation, he's now saying that Ondo, Imo, and Abia should be taken out of NDDC. I don't think it's right. His state had produced managing director. His ethnic nationality had produced managing director. Why now? Why not 23 years ago? It's too late in the day. If Baba wants to effect any change, Baba should go to the parliament and propose a motion for that. He's a lawyer. He knows how to go about it more than I do. But why I'm responding to it is because it's Chief Edwin Clark that made this suggestion. And the suggestion is very, very wrong. Look, I'll tell you something. If you know Ondo and Delta State, it's a thin line. The boundary is a thin line. Whatever is done in Delta State, in Warri area, in Ishekiri area, is felt by the Ilajes. So what do you do? How do you remedy that? Ocean tide brings pollution to Ilaje. Those waters are our farmland. We can't fish. We can't do anything. Recently, a village was submerged. Araromi. No, Ayetoro was submerged. So I don't know what Baba Edwin Clark was talking about. Any pollution in any place in Ishekiri land will be felt by the Ilajes. So how do you remedy that? All right.
Now, there are Nigerians who are currently saying there are bigger issues affecting the entire Niger Delta region than this forth and back over appointments. But what other appointments or what other NDDC appointment do you have an issue with in the entire component?
No, that's what I'm telling you. Every state that produces oil has a state rep. Beyond that, the executive management, should be shared among those states. The law had been followed for the position of the chairmanship. But when it gets to the executive management position, 4 states want to repeat it. And that's not what the Constitution is saying of the Niger Delta body itself. That's not what the law is saying.
So what do you think is needed to be done to ensure adequate inclusion in the commission?
Yeah, obey the NDDC Act. Obey Section 12, Subsection 1. Rotate the executive management. Let every state have a shot before another state will have the second shot. Now, even if you look at it, Bayelsa is number 4. If we are supposed to have a second shot, should they be the first to have a second shot? The whole thing is shrouded in what we can't explain. Now, if you have had 1, 2, 3, 4, there should be 5, 6, 7. That's the problem. And what they do is against rule of law. That's what we are telling them. And if you work so much against rule of law, so many things will happen. You see what the rascals in Akure are doing now. You see what they are doing now. When you go away from the law, from what the law states, then you get whatever is bad. Whatever result you get, the resultant result will be bad and worse. And that's what we are getting.
Right. So do you think this is one of the many issues affecting the progress of the NDDC?
Yes, it will affect it because the appointees, rather than work for those communities, they work for their godfathers, godmasters. Look, if you put somebody from Ilaje oil-bearing committee, some of us will force him to do the right thing. But if he was put there by some other people, some powerful people on top, he doesn't listen to anybody. He listens to those who put him there. It's simple and short.
So you think this is what is currently happening with the new board?
It will continue to happen with all boards so formed with illegitimate people. It will continue to happen until you do the right thing, until you do what the law prescribes. You don't get any good result.
All right, we'll get back to that. But the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Abubakar Momo, has asked this new board members to change the negative narratives about the commission. How instructive is this for you?
Well, he's saying that, I don't know, but he knows the law. He didn't follow the law. Saying and expecting illegitimate people to do the right thing will be very difficult. It's a tough one.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, expecting those people who are not legitimate to do the right thing will be very tough because they have people who put them there.
Right, so because you think Bayelson should not hold the chairmanship position for now.
Not the chairmanship, the managing director.
The managing director, pardon me. So why would you outrightly say this is illegal? Like I said earlier, this management was appointed by the Senate.
No, it was not appointed, but it was appointed by the president. It was the one who nominated them to the Senate. Yes. So you don't expect anything good from an illegitimate situation. Nothing can come, nothing good can come. It will be business as usual. Some people put you there, you dance to their tunes. So,
but when you say nothing good will come, I mean, some people have applauded the management for paying this backlog of payments.
Yeah. I come from Ondo State. I come from the Ilaje area of Ondo State. You know, in Ilaje, for 16 years, there have been no electricity. What is NDDC doing? Recently in Ilaje, a whole community, Ayetoro, was submerged by the ocean. What is NDDC doing? There are so many issues. There are so many issues. NDDC is beyond building culverts. You know what their budget for this year was when they started? 876 billion. Where is the 876 billion? But if you put somebody from that area there, some people will push him to do the right thing. Some of us will force him to do the right thing. Not people who know that they are not qualified for the position you give to them. You won't get results. You won't get results.
Let me also ask you, do you think it is because Ondo State has no one on the board? That's why the state is not getting the needed attention?
No, that's not it. Even those states, go to Bayelsa, go to Rivers. Rivers, yes, Governor Wike did so much. What did NDDC do? NDDC is still on the rented property. So nothing good will come out of it.
So this is about the leadership of the commission?
very correct.
Right. So some analysts have insisted that the NDDC needs visionary leaders with integrity to drive the commission's mandate. How confident are you? I mean, you're saying this is illegal, but then I still need to ask you this question. Before your proposition comes to light, how confident are you about this new board to do that?
This new board will end up doing nothing. 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 Okay, I'll give you an example. Somebody from Akure was made executive director, corporate services. Akure have never suffered any deprivation on account of oil exploration. Ilaje have suffered. Are you telling me you don't have professionals who can be managing directors, who can be executive directors in Ilaje? That's not correct.
So that appointment should have gone to someone from Ilaje.
Someone from Ilaje, that's what I'm saying. And probably chosen by the people, so that he could be drawn to see what...
But Otito Atikashe is a member of the board from Ilaje.
Otito Atikashe is a state rep. All states have state rep. All states producing oil. All regions not producing oil have representative. Just like Otito is for Ilaje, somebody is for Akwa Ibom, somebody is for Bayelsa, somebody is for Delta. So it's not part, that's not part of it. The people who take decisions there are the executive management. So if you don't give the people who are qualified, who are legitimate, what they should have, nobody will be able to put them to task. If somebody in Abuja or somebody elsewhere appoints them, they work for that person. They won't work for the community. And that has been what has been happening ever since.
But does this not tell on the efficiency of your state rep if the state is still suffering some deprivation?
Well, to some extent, yes and no. Because the job is done by the executive management, not the state rep. Like the state rep are people you call non-executive directors. They do little or nothing.
So why are they there?
Yeah, they are there to coordinate, to, to augment what they have there. They are not executive people. When you have a bank, you have a managing director, you have the executive directors. Sometimes you meet maybe once, 2, 3, 4 times in a year. What can you do? But these people are day-to-day people, day-to-day management. You see the difference? You see the difference? So when you have somebody who is not even a full-time member, you don't expect him, you don't expect his output to be like, full-time member. And aside that, all these states that have the executive management, they also have state reps. So even if you take a vote, their state rep will vote for them. The executive management will also vote for them. So it will be 2-1.
So, Mr. Akinola, if you're saying some of the states that have produced executive directors of the board still suffer some deprivation, what does this tell us?
This tells us that the process of selection should be looked at. The communities, the oil-bearing communities, must be involved in the nomination. Otherwise, you nominate someone, maybe a Bayelsa indigenous, who have been resident in Lagos, who is not even aware of what happens in Bayelsa, or not just Bayelsa, or Rivers. You don't expect so much about what he will do. You don't expect him, you don't expect the output to be so large. He will be confined, he will not be able to do what he's supposed to do. But if it's somebody who the communities know, the normal reasoning is that the community will force him to listen to them.
Right. But do you think the problem of the Niger Delta region can only be solved by direct involvement of the president?
No, I don't understand the question.
Now, some critical stakeholders from the region have said the problem of the Niger Delta can only be resolved by direct federal government intervention and active involvement of the president. How substantial is this?
Yeah, the president himself is a representative of Nigerians. Let the communities choose their representatives. Let the community be involved in the selection. Some of those people you're talking about don't even know their communities. Some of them have not even been to their communities. Oh, look at Electoral now that is being submerged by ocean surge. Does Abegunde, who is the executive director, corporate services from Akure North, does he know anything about Electoral? Does he know what pollution is to the people? Has he ever been there? It does nothing. You don't expect him to do anything, because he does not know the terrain.
Right. So I would assume that all of this you have mentioned since we started this show is part of the underlying structural problems many people have talked about. I mean, there have been three critical areas people have said may have contributed to the huge challenges in the Niger Delta region. Some have talked about corruption, political influences, and underlying structural problem. Let's talk about corruption, which remains the biggest challenge for the NDDC to deliver on its mandate. How can this be tackled?
It's still the same thing. Involve these communities. Involve these communities. The communities know what their problems are. Everybody in Nigeria knows that the whole of Ondo South have been without electricity for 16 years. How will someone who lives in Akure or Abuja appreciate that? It will only take an Ilaje man or an Ikale man to understand that. So, if you put people who are not legitimate, who are not supposed to be there, they don't know what these people suffer. You know, when we say all these things, it's a series of breaches. It's a series of illegalities. And you don't look at what is happening in Ondo State now. When you don't allow for rule of law, anything comes. The rascals in Akure, instead of them to look at section 190, subsection 1 and 2, and do what is the right thing, they are busy screening, appointing people to offices. And there is no governor. Instead of them to take Lucky Ayedatiwa and swear him in as the acting governor, they are chasing Chadu. Do they need to have the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu intervene into it? Do they not know what section 190, section 1, subsection 2 is? They know, and these are lawmakers. If lawmakers make this kind of mistakes, what do you expect from the average man on the street?
Absolutely. Now we'll have some other time to talk about Ondo politics, but let's get back on track. Okay. Let's talk about this forensic audit report on the NDDC. Why do you think the report is yet to be made public?
It's too bad. Jumoke, it's too bad.
How bad?
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks. Honestly, I look at some things there. The budget for this year, 876 billion. Can you see projects that can match that? Even half of that. If you go around Niger Delta Basin, you know what Niger Delta Basin is? Can you see 10 billion naira projects? It's bad. That forensic audit should not even be discussed. I don't even want to talk about it.
No, let's discuss it.
No, I don't want to talk because it will make me feel bad. The quantity of money that have been siphoned and stolen on account of godfather, godson relationship is better we don't talk about it.
No, if you're saying we do not talk about it, are you in support of it being swept under the carpet?
Well,
I mean, this is what affects the entire Niger Delta region. And if you're here today saying things have to be done differently, it means we need to talk about it.
That's what we are saying. It will make me feel worse. I'm feeling bad now. If I have to talk about a lot of the quantum of stealings that have been made, I only feel bad.
By who? By
operators of Niger Delta Development Commission. Those who have been executive director projects, executive director, admin, executive director, because these are people who sanction projects. So it's better you just find a way of forgetting about it. Look, I don't know if you've been to Ilaje. Go around Ilaje, start from Ilumeje, go to Bokoda, go to Demain, go to Deugbo, go to Bonla, go to Ilowo, go to Ayetoro seaside. It's all it's not worth the talk. It's not worth the talk. And you know something? Oil was first discovered in Ilaje, and people don't want us to say it, and I'll continue to say it. Oil was first discovered in Ayetoro. Yes, it was discovered in commercial quantity in Oloibiri, but the first discovery was Ayetoro, Ondo State, Ilaje, Ondo State. They don't want us to talk about it.
So you just said there were quantum of stealings of the NDDC. But does
Because
this
of the
mean,
size.
yeah, so does this mean that the problem actually are the stakeholders, the big wigs from the Niger Delta states?
Yeah, people who appoint or nominate their godsons.
Asked the question because some weeks ago on the show we had a stakeholder from Delta State, River State, pardon me, Petero Thomas, who emphatically said that the leadership of the National Assembly must hands off the resources of the NDDC for the Commission to thrive. It says there is so much interest outside of the Niger Delta.
Yes. You just said the National Assembly confirmed the nominees. You said that while we started. They confirmed not because the people are legitimate. They confirm for some other reasons. They know the law. Look, last year, 3 distinguished senators from Ondo, Professor Boroface and the 2 other senators, they wrote the National Assembly that the nomination of one Charles, what's his name again? This guy from Owo that was appointed executive director projects. These gentlemen, these distinguished senators, they wrote that it's against the Niger Delta and the Niger Delta Act, the Niger Delta Development Commission Act, that the Senate should not confirm them. The president should renominate. But they still went ahead to confirm them. When you only need 2 senators to refuse a nomination, 3 senators wrote, they still went ahead to do the confirmation. During this confirmation, based on the readings of the Senate president, the 3rd executive director, Abegunle, was not part of it. But on the day of confirmation, it was also confirmed. Have you ever seen a Senate or a legislature who will confirm en masse? It doesn't happen. They only ask the chairman and the managing director to speak to them. You don't do that. So the rot is where only God can save us.
All right, Mr. Akinola, let's quickly go back to this issue of state rep. You talked about the NDDC Act, Establishment Act. That the law stipulates what local government a state rep must come from.
Area. Yes, if you want to espouse it, say local government, but not state. Because in that same law, state was also mentioned.
Meaning that?
Meaning that state is different from area. It specifies oil-producing areas. States from oil-producing areas, oil-producing areas from states. So they knew what they are doing. Until they come to terms with the truth, we'll still be going through the circles.
So I also find it very amusing, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians also find it very amusing, that the people allegedly stealing or stealing in quotes, like you said, are from the Niger Delta. Isn't it surprising that these people are stealing rather than improving the life and condition of people from the Niger Delta region?
Yeah, it's not surprising to me. Reason is not surprising to me. If I engage you, you do what I want you to do. It's as simple as that. If I engage you, Jumoke, you do what I want you to do. You don't do what I want you to do, I sack you. It's as simple as that. Yes.
Mr. Akinola, let's take a break. I've been speaking with the National Coordinator of the Concerned Ilaje Stakeholders Committee, Akinola Gbonegun. Tonight we're discussing NDDC appointments and the inclusion challenge. We take a break now and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.